All right, thanks. Thanks for coming on a Friday afternoon. I think all of us would rather be talking about the Eagles than what we got to talk about today. But I'm here with several folks that probably don't need an introduction, but I'll do it anyway. Upper Moreland Police Chief Scott Bendig on the end, Lieutenant Kent from Abington next to him, Chief Mark Bernsteel on my left, First Assistant DA Ed McCann on my right, and Superintendent of Police of Lower Merion, Andy Block, who I seem to be spending a lot of time with on these cases. So what we're here to talk about today is twofold. The first is a homicide arrest, and I'll put his picture up, of Jeremy Fuentes. So by way of background, Fuentes is part of a gun trafficking operation with two co-defendants that you are familiar with at this point, Charles Fulforth and Kelvin Roberts. So they were arrested for the home invasion on December 8th in Lower Merion. So we're talking about Jeremy Fuentes and his role at this point. He was part of a gun trafficking organization involving these and other individuals. He worked for the company that we've mentioned before, Junk Luggers, in Willow Grove. Fuentes did an estimate on a home in Bucks County on December 6th. So a couple days before the home invasion, the work was going to be done on December 9th. Home invasion was December 8th. Fuentes relayed information about a home in Bucks County, which was different from the home that was invaded in Lower Merion, but talked about the fact that there were guns, gun safes, and other things in this home, and so consequently, Fuentes is the impetus behind why Andrew Gaudio was murdered, and Bernadette Gaudio was attempted to be murdered by the individuals we've mentioned, Charles Fulforth and Kelvin Roberts. These individuals, and you see a lot laid out in front of you here today, and I should first say, before I get ahead of myself, Jeremy Fuentes is in custody. He was taken into custody this morning thanks to the efforts of the Philadelphia Police Homicide Task Force and Philly SWAT. They hit a house this morning and took him into custody without incident, which we were pleased, because we were concerned, of course, with everybody involved in this and their access to guns, which we'll talk about here. So I want to turn a little bit now to the crossover between what we originally looked at with the homicide to where we are now in this investigation. So pictured on that slide is what we believe is the murder weapon. That was found in Charles Fulforth's apartment in Jenkintown. And we are confident in that based upon the ballistic testing that was done. That was a search of his residence after Abington SWAT teams were out throughout the night. He came out of his apartment there and was able to be taken into custody. Police executed search warrants and found that, and that was the Fairway apartment in Jenkintown. So the investigation into this gun trafficking organization kind of went from there, and some of the other items that were found that are outlined in the affidavit of probable cause that you have before you is this. And this is an item that was made by Fulforth that we believe is the murder weapon in this case, and it was made by a 3D printer. Now, this picture that I'm showing you at this point, this is from a 3D printer, all right? In 3D printers, we are able to go back and historically look at this. And that's what a lot of this investigation entailed up to this point. We'll show you a couple other photos with this. But these guns and a lot that you see laying before you were being manufactured by Full Force and then distributed out on the streets and was fueling gun violence. Because they're not doing it to legitimate people. They're doing it to criminals that can't own guns. And they're criminals that can't own or distribute or make or buy or sell guns. So this is a place in Orland. This is where he was putting a lot of these guns together. This was his manufacturing aspect, so he would print them and then put them together at this other location. Now, what the affidavit of probable cause in front of you lays out is a organization involving a number of different people, and we'll talk about those individuals in a moment. There are 8 involved in this organization. The 3 I've already mentioned in custody, and we also have Aaron Hiller, Jonathan Rodriguez, Francis Staton in custody. We're looking for 2 other individuals, Marcus Lee Jackson and Corey Simpson. So I want to spend a few minutes now and talk to you about what was being printed, what was being sold, the manufacturing that was going on between the apartment in the Fairway apartment in Jenkintown, this establishment in Orland, and the organization that was selling them. So when we're talking about the guns themselves and those type of weapons, these are some of the weapons that are being made, and they're being made on the 3D printer, and then put together with other items. Now, I want to talk about 2 of the other items that are a big part of this organization. So these are suppressors. All right, a suppressor, another word for that is a silencer. So these are being put on the guns so that they're not going to make noise when the criminals that they're being distributed to are putting them out or using them. And then over on the end here, you have machine gun conversion devices. These are also being printed. Now, I'm gonna show you something coming off of the 3D printer that we were able to obtain during the investigation. Okay, this picture right here, he's making 12 at a time. 12 at a time. And here's one of the problems with this that we're facing, and it is going to cause issues for a long time here to come. And in the affidavit of probable cause, it outlines him talking about what's going on and how people really want these. And when he is selling the guns that he sold and put out on the street with these AK pistols and other things on them, or AR pistols, what he's doing is he's attaching the machine gun conversion devices, and they're being sold for $1,000 more if you can make it into a machine gun fully automatic. So some of the things that are being distributed here are silent machine guns, suppressors, the ghost gun that they've made and put together, with a machine gun conversion device on it. And that's the danger, and that's the trafficking that was going on through this investigation. So that's a picture from the 3D printer. This is a picture because in this organization, they used their phones frequently. They took pictures of the different devices that they had to sell. They traded them back and forth. This is showing a suppressor on one of the guns that was being sold or traded by this organization back and forth. There's also a picture that we obtained in going through this investigation of the defendant. That's Charles Fulforth. And I point this one out because if you'll recall in the murder investigation, we learned that he was wearing a bulletproof vest. He's wearing a bulletproof vest in this photo, which is another part of the homicide case that we have before us. Now I want to show you this one. So this is a photo from the 3D printer. This is a photo of a suppressor being made, similar to the ones that you see on the table here. And that's the defendant, Charles Fulforth. It's a pretty good piece of evidence. All right. This is one that we were able to obtain off of his phone. Another of the AR pistols that were being sold, and again, showing it to his customers to be able to put it out there and do this. Okay. We don't have a lot of these guns. They were put out on the street and distributed. These are pictures, all of guns that we don't have, that are operable, that are working, and that are not in the hands of law enforcement. There's a lot of danger and a lot of gun violence that is going to come from this organization and what they have done here. Again, this is not legitimate gun dealers. This is not serialized weapons. These are ghost guns, difficult to trace, but for our historical look back on this to do it. All right, so these are the individuals that are involved in the second part of this that we're outlining here today of the gun trafficking organization. You have Jonathan Rodriguez, Francis Staton, and I can't read from here, but that's Aaron Hiller that have been arrested so far. And again, we're looking for Marcus Lee Jackson and Corey Simpson at this point. And I will warn, if anybody knows where they are, call the police. Don't approach them. This is a gun trafficking organization, and we are concerned, as we were this morning when we hit the house where Jeremy Fuentes was, because of the nature and background of this investigation into what they were. And again, we're very appreciative of the Philadelphia Police Homicide Task Force and the SWAT team from Philly that were able to get Fuentes into custody this morning without incident. All right, we'll take questions.
Kevin, is there any indication that these guys with this ring did what they did in Lower Merion before, in that they used junk luggers as an opportunity to go into people's homes and target them?
Yeah, so that part of the investigation is continuing. I anticipate that there will be more arrests in this case. I can't get into the specifics of it, but that part is continuing. All right. Yes, ma'am.
Just for clarification, are you guys pinning Fulforth as the ringleader of this gun trafficking ring?
Yeah, he's the one that's manufacturing them. But the three of them, Kelvin Robertson and Jeremy Fuentes, were all integrally involved in this. And they were selling some factory made, which I think was part of the impetus on why they were trying to do this home invasion in this case, to get some legitimate guns in this, as well as the ones that are being manufactured. And look, this guy was, Fulforth was using all of these 3D printers. He was getting very advanced with what he was doing. He was taking orders for different types of weapons that people want, manufacturing them, and then distributing through this network of folks that have been arrested in this. So, anything involved with this, it's conspiracies, it's a corrupt organization that's going on. And again, what they're doing is they're fueling gun violence. They're putting mechanisms of death out on the streets that are very difficult to trace. So, I look at this investigation, I look at all the partners that we've had, some of which are here, the Attorney General's office, other police departments, the Philadelphia Police Department, who really work together to get us where we are in this case. This is not an easy investigation.
Is there any indication that there's more people involved in this ring?
There may be. There may be.
And all these were seized for the investigation, assuming like all these manufactured guns in front of us.
Yeah, this is what we got on search warrants, in these locations, right? These are the items we ran, and this isn't all of it. Like we don't have the murder weapon out here, today on it. That's why I showed you a picture of that. But that's what's going on with this.
Kevin, have you now concluded that Fulforth was a trigger man who actually killed Mr. Gaudio?
Carl, I'm not certain of that at this point, and quite frankly, I don't think it matters. These individuals committed a home invasion together, and one of them shot, or both of them shot, in the upstairs of this house. They killed Andrew. They paralyzed Bernadette, in this. And now you have Fuentes in on this too. And he's on the hook for this because he was the impetus behind it. And it's all accomplice liability. Everybody who's involved in this shares that culpability. So, we're continuing the investigation. And there's indications of certain things, but we're not done yet on this. And again, like this is all of them on the hook for the offenses that were committed here.
Have you made any decision yet about whether you're going to seek the death penalty in this
I have
case
not.
in the event of a
I have
first-degree
not.
murder conviction?
I have not. We got to go through aggravating factors and see if there is enough to go forward on that. We have not made that determination yet. Yes.
So the additional 5 suspects that we're talking about, were they also connected to junk luggers? And could you explain what the connection?
Some are, some aren't. In terms of being employed there and involved in it. I think the most important one of that is Jeremy Fuentes. So Fuentes is the individual who does the estimate on the home in Bucks County, relays that information to Fulforth, and that's the impetus on why they go to this residence and the reason why, which is to get guns. So that was the background that made this happen. So, he's integrally involved. He set things up for him. He also told him it was off of City Ave, which was wrong.
Mm-hmm. And could you generally go over what we're seeing on the table? And do you have an idea of a timetable of when this ring may have started operating?
It's been going for a while. We went back, and you can see it outlined in the affidavit of a period of time, and I'm glad to to point out specific items for you. But, you know, these are all weapons that are being put out there to fuel violence. You have the devices that are being used to load a lot of bullets in them, and then shoot a lot. And the problem becomes when you combine these things with a machine gun conversion device, because, you know, a semi-automatic, you're going to fire, you know, one at a time and pull the trigger each time. What we're talking about here is that this is all automatic and all going along those lines.
On that note, if you
Yeah.
could talk in the microphone.
Yes, sir.
You're talking
If
about.
anybody isn't aware, I work for Jim Melwart here.
Well, it's radio.
Yeah.
It doesn't play well on radio. With the switches, kind of a two-part question. You talk about how quick they fire, and we've been over this before, but again, what are you talking about when you talk about how quickly they fire? And also, what is the legality of a switch? When is it illegal and when isn't it illegal?
All right.
If that makes sense.
So Fulforth has charges against him for distributing guns with the switch put on them. He's making money, you know, on that. When they are attached, they are illegal. They're illegal all the time federally. So a machine gun conversion device, a suppressor on their own are going to be illegal federally. They're not in Pennsylvania yet, and I hope and pray that our legislature will do something about this. And a machine gun conversion device on its own should be a standalone crime in Pennsylvania. And I thought I might get this question, or what a machine gun conversion device is. So I want to show you all something. This is two of our detectives, and we have a 1921 Tommy submachine gun that you see in the Al Capone days and things like that. That's illegal. Ronald Reagan signed legislation to say, you know, those are illegal. They can't manufacture them. You can't do them. So we used that and we shot 20 times. We had a detective, another one of our ballistics detectives, use a switch on a gun with 30 in it. Watch. Okay, that's under 2 seconds. 30 shots with the switch, 20 with the machine gun that is illegal, and that's how fast this goes. I'll do it again because it was really fast. All right, the switch is faster. You know, the machine gun conversion device is faster. Like this is a significant, you know, problem that we're facing. You know, these are different from some of the ones that we've seen, which are the Chinese made, you know, switches that say Glock on them and those kind of things that are being distributed. This is made with 3D printers. So, you know, these folks in this gun trafficking organization are making all of these items, making the switches, making the guns, making the suppressors, and distributing out on the street with no serial numbers on them. And nobody has to go in to a licensed firearm dealer and fill out the paperwork and do the things that legitimate gun owners are doing. So, you know, any store that's selling should be really concerned because This is like an illegal marketing. Imagine like the marijuana dealers, the dispensaries, and all the illegal marijuana going out there. Well, it's taken away their profits on it, so I think they should be concerned. And the other thing I'll say, if anyone, like when we drafted legislation on this, if everyone's saying, oh, well, the machine gun conversion device, you're trying to take our guns away. No, we're not. No, we're not. It's got nothing to do with taking somebody's gun away. What you're taking away is a device that turns it into a machine gun. That's killing law enforcement and killing innocent people. All right? And Bernadette Gaudio and Andrea Gaudio are innocents. They were in their homes, and these people came in and murdered the son and paralyzed the mother. Jim, any other questions?
No, but I'll give you a raise.
Thanks.
How is Bernadette doing?
She's got a long ways to go. This is it's a really significant injury to her. Our folks, Ed McCann, Brianna Ringwood, have spent a little time with her recently, but she's got a long way to go. Well,
Is there any way to put an estimate or a frame to your best ability of how many guns were produced by Full Force?
Well, the affidavit of probable cause is, I think, 115 pages long. And, when we're going through those, like, those are establishing crimes and the counts. And what I'd say to that is that's going to be on the low end. There's more out there that we weren't able to get to the level of, probable cause to arrest on something. So, the ramifications of this are huge. The impact on this could be felt for a long time. The fact that a lot of these AR pistols are out there with these conversion devices on them is a really scary proposition. And I hope we can find them. We're going to continue to try, but this is a difficult investigation to get to where we've gotten on it. And I'm really proud of the work that has been done in this, because you know what, I'm not sure that it would happen in a lot of places.
Have you gone back to old cases where ghost guns were seized to see if they match the MO of Full Force, whether it's in Montgomery County or Philadelphia?
Yeah, so we do testing on every weapon that's recovered, and the police departments bring them in, and we also have NIBIN, which is the National Integrated Ballistics Information Network. So that work's going on constantly, and hopefully we'll be able to link some things up. In this case, I think it's really important that we got the weapon in his home. We have it being printed on a 3D printer, and we have an expert in ballistics saying that gun was used in one of the bullets, or with one of the bullets that was found in Andrew. So, combining it with the autopsy, it's really significant evidence for us.
Were all of these pieces of evidence taken from Full Force's apartment?
Not all of them. I think there were some items that were found in different locations, but I believe a majority of the things have been the items were seized in the apartments and search warrants that we obtained.
Is junk luggers a legitimate business where some employees were abusing the information that they got through the course of working to commit crimes, or was it a front for a criminal organization?
So, junk luggers is a legitimate business. There were people employed at junk luggers who were criminals and had criminal intent and used knowledge from their work to commit crimes. And you see the worst possible ramification of that in the home invasion that happened in Lower Merion. And that's what I can tell you at this point.
I don't usually ask questions, but how much of a gun can they 3D print, or does it need to have a host gun for certain parts?
Unfortunately, there's plans that people can get to make different types of guns, and that's available out there. And I believe some of those things were being used to manufacture the guns. There's also aspects of this investigation where parts of guns were factory made and parts of the guns were made by 3D printing. So it's a combination of things in some of those cases. But again, there's things out there that are enabling people to 3D print these type of weapons, and I hope that the legislatures, both state and federally, will give us the tools to be able to confront some of it, because it's really, really dangerous.
I may have missed it if you said this, but do you have a ballpark of how many guns they may be responsible for putting on the street?
No, I kind of answered that in a broad way and said there was a 115-page affidavit that laid out a lot, but we only think that's like the tip of the iceberg in terms of what was done. That was the cases that we had enough to charge on and have charged as a part of this corrupt organization.
I see a lot of things on the table. I haven't counted everything, but do you have the numbers on how many guns were seized and how many 3D printers and so on and so forth?
I do, but that's part of the affidavit of probable cause. I can't give you that right now. Okay?